the COP27 is going on right now.
Right. Yes.
I popped a little link for you.
Okay.
Which is a fun thing. Yeah, we're hoping for something more interesting to talk about regarding it, but we need to mention it before it's too late.
Okay.
COP27 is going. That is the climate activism international elite summit type of thing.
In Egypt.
DailyMail.com. It's in Egypt. DailyMail.com.uk. 400 private jets arrive in Egypt during COP27 as climate delegates are accused of hypocrisy.
This happens every single time. Do they? First off, they either don't care because obviously they're gonna. This gets reported every time. They don't care.
Yeah, they don't care. They don't care. But there's a lot more talks going further than the private jets.
Okay,
talk about elite, rich status symbols. Even when they are traveling to save the world from climate change, they are destroying it at the same time. But it's just kind of how the elite system works. But a lot more information is coming out about many of the programs, these ways that from the top down, they are affecting, climate change, saving the world, carbon credits, the regulations on companies, and how a company can be in compliance with their ESG. And, part of this, we'll do a much bigger breakdown, I think, next week. But part of this is the way that these companies become compliant is hilariously useless. For instance, a company can have a good ESG score and be considered, a good player, a good boy or good girl when it comes to pollution. And the way that it's measured is the percentage of their assets that pollute versus the percentage of their assets that reduce carbon footprint stuff. So, you could hypothetically take an oil company, right? An oil company who arguably not only are they pumping oil, but they have to ship the oil. They've got pipelines that are breaking and blah, blah, blah. Arguably one of the more destructive industries, right? But we're finding out that an oil company can get a good ESG rating by purchasing land and not doing anything with it. Just regular empty land that just has plants and animals on it. And you think, how does a gas company get a good, how are they considered good actors in this climate change nonsense? Well, it's because they'll purchase 1 million acres of forest or, indigenous land or, jungle or, whatever, something like that has a bunch of plants on it. And just simply by owning that land, not by doing anything or changing any of their practices or whatever, just simply by owning empty land, it increases. Are you playing with jingles over there?
I'm trying to set up for the break, but
as they own land that has plants on it, because the plants are considered, to be carbon filters, and the more land they own and don't touch, the more. Okay,
sorry. I'm not
Seriously,
trying to.
I'm having a hard enough time trying to explain this.
No, I'm trying. I'm not doing it on purpose. There's just a little lag on the board.
Hold your horses for just 1 second. The more land that they own that doesn't have anything on it, the smaller proportion of their assets are polluting. So they don't have to change a single thing, but they just have to buy up a bunch of land and not do anything with it. Well, I mean, you can kind of see how this system that they've set up to make corporate elites, corporate juggernauts, international, tycoons of industry and military industrial complex. You can give these guys a good score by the fact that they buy up a bunch of land and don't touch it. Well, that would be cool if, I don't know, the housing crisis wasn't sending families into a spiral of homelessness. And a lot of that land was previously owned by, Indian reservations, and it's farmable land, but now it can't be farmed because this is part of Bill Gates's whole thing. This is part of the reason why he bought up all that farmland. Is it's part of balancing his ESG score, apparently. So, these are the types of things that don't get talked about because we repeatedly obsess about the private jets that they're flying to COP27.
So it is a distraction.
It's in my opinion, it's like a distraction, but it's interesting because you're getting the right message. You're just not getting the full details. There's like way more horrible reasons why these COP27 participants are absolute hypocrites who are putting on a show for the purpose of taking over the world, and crafting their own version of what life on Earth can be like. Yeah, but the planes are just fun. The planes get headlines, but there's a lot more horrible things going on. Hopefully we get to dig in a little bit more next week.
The article, there's a line here. There are more than 33,000 participants registered at the COP27, where delegates are holding high-level talks on scaling up finance for developing countries to green their economies and prepare for global warming impacts.
Exactly. And that's what a lot of it is accounting. It's green accounting. They're not actually doing anything. And I think it speaks to a couple of things. Either they're complete hypocrites and, are accomplishing nothing just so they can convince people to let them keep ruling the world, or they are not hypocrites because they don't actually believe the problem is real. So they're not actually taking real action. Again, it's theater, which we love pointing out here. But it is almost literally completely theater, including the fact that they take 400 private planes to the summit there. So that's just a fun part of, when you're having a conversation with somebody and you scoff at a climate change comment or something, and they think you're scoffing because you're a science denier or you whatever. But really, to be able to point to the evidence that these people either really don't believe their own gospel about climate change and fixing the planet, or they're entirely hypocrites. That's a much better way to have a conversation with somebody in your life who you may have disagreements with, because ultimately, if nothing else, it's planting that little seed of doubt that maybe their good friend Bill Gates isn't as nice of a guy as they think he is.
Well, and just put a cherry on top of what we've been talking about here. Just a real quick note that oil giant Shell, Shell, the big Shell thing,
of course,
moves into Bitcoin mining industry.
Right. Yeah. That's an interesting one. They're allegedly they're doing this with I guess when you're refining oil, when you're making gasoline or refining fossil fuels into, whatever you're refining it into, there's a whole bunch of gases and chemicals that come off of that process. And usually they just burn it off. Right. They just open a valve, set it on fire, and just let it blaze. And it's that process. They're trying to, use those excess chemicals, excess gases, to create energy to mine Bitcoin, which is hilarious.
Hey, I thought crypto was taking up too much energy.
Yeah, when the existence of Bitcoin, according to the climate change people, is using more electricity than all of Europe combined.
Except what's the electricity data like during Christmas in the state of Delaware?
Got him.
Bitcoin go to moon.